The Assembly of God is one of 13 denominations helping to support Pittsburgh Challenge, a live-in facility for drug addicts. During the regular church services, the congregation welcomes participation from Challenge residents, many of whom admit the program is a last resort for addicts who have tried everything except the Lord and who are willing to make one last effort. Pittsburgh Challenge Assistant Director Kenneth Wilkerson talks about the program.
This is basically a spiritual program where the fellows come in and learn of the Bible and daily chapel, prayer, guidance. As in my life, I found that I tried many other cures, and I came to Christ one day and found that this was the answer. And many of them ask a lot of questions about God, are interested in, even those who never heard. And they are interested in a program like this because many of them have tried everything else. And many of them come out of curiosity. They say, well, it looks like it's worked for you, and maybe it can work for me.
6 months ago in February, when I was sitting in the county jail and not knowing where my life was going to go after getting out, or if I ever did get out, I never thought, and never even had the remotest idea that I would be standing here tonight or standing among Christian people and giving my testimony of what has occurred in the past 5 years of my life. It has really been an eye-opener to me and has really overwhelmed me to a certain extent to witness to the actions of the Holy Spirit and to the work of Jesus Christ.
I cannot hide from God, however I would try, though mountains cover me, I'll not escape His eye. I've wandered far and near, and still His voice I hear. I know that I can never hide from God.
Glad to be on this corner tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to let you know that we're concerned about you, the community, and the problems here. And I hope something will be said tonight that will inspire you to be a better citizen and help the community, whatever way you can. We're here to do a job, so gather around and listen. I'm sure you'll be benefited from what you hear tonight. And I have a solo at this time.
The Reverend Charles Upshur directs Hope for the Addict in Pittsburgh, a halfway house for the drug addict trying to find his way back into society. A resident can get help in completing his education, finding a job, and in maintaining his rehabilitation with the help of the church.
I want you to know that there is hope for you. There's a future. Things are not as dark as they seem. We're concerned about you. That's why we're here. God is concerned about you. That's why we're here. There's other people in the community concerned about you. And I believe if you will listen, see, to those that are doing positive things in your community, those that are helping to build your community up, see, you wouldn't have to cop out from society. You wouldn't have to escape is not carnage. There is a future for you. There is a way out.
Before a drug addict can find a way out, he must voluntarily decide to make a commitment. A commitment toward rehabilitation as total as the one previously made to drugs. He must decide for himself if he can and will change his entire lifestyle.
Telling you about Christianity, but doing something.
The founder of Synanon, Chuck Dietrich, is an expert at changing lifestyles.
I think there has to be tremendous changes in the whole environment, the whole changes in the relationship between people, relationship between man, what's inside his skin and what's outside. There have to be total changes in relationship. I don't know how to cure a drug addict or something. I don't know how to straighten out a delinquent. I think that we have to straighten out the whole thing, the whole group, the whole environment, of which the delinquent or the kid or the drug addict or the drunk is a part.
In Tomales Bay, north of San Francisco, a new city is rising. It's been called a commune, a rehabilitation center, an academy. It's all of these. It is an experiment in living. Synanon began 12 years ago in response to a problem of addiction. But Chuck Dietrich feels Synanon's real business is teaching people to accept and develop themselves. Synanon is a chance to live in a free new way, a total commitment to an environment designed to change people.
I have been in the drug addiction business longer than anyone in the United States. Really. And I've been eminently successful. Eminently successful. There are literally thousands of people who do not use drugs as a result of what Synanon has been doing and what I've been doing with my time. Now, I suppose that in another year or two, somebody is going to find some kind of a hook and find a way of making interesting the news that there are an increasing number of people living in community without violence, having a good time, living creatively, not enjoying the problems with their children. The tradition of media coverage in this country, and I don't know any other country, is that you report tragedy and bad news all the time. Synanon's good news. And how much of a point can you make for good news?
Synanon is a shock to those who hold traditional stereotypes of the drug addict as a dirty, subhuman individual. Yet many residents admit they were just that before they discovered Synanon. They recount their stories willingly.
I was using marijuana for about a year. I got very messed up. I had trouble with girls, trouble with everything. Every area of my life just seemed to collapse.
I had dropped out of college. I was unemployed. I was just unprepared for life. I had no survival tools.
I had never really faced up to myself. I made excuses. I was a master at rationalizing, and then I got involved in playing the Synanon game.
In the beginning, I was thinking about it. The game served mostly the function of draining off hostilities and enabling people to let down their defenses and get to know one another and yourself.
When I think of things to say to people, or when something comes up in my mind, usually I'll say them, but you scare me because you intimidate me and I won't say anything to you.
But over the period of time, Synanon game in Synanon has taken on other dimensions. It's a time to have fun. There's a lot of laughs in the game. It's a way to let's say celebrate one's sorrows or happiness. It's a religious experience in the small R sense.
The game is an intense and candid examination of personal behavior, and each person is required to explore and defend his own attitudes.
One cannot live in Synanon without playing the game, and one cannot associate with Synanon without playing the game. Communication between people, at least to the level that I like to have it, is impossible without this process.
Mary, I feel that, there's nothing that I have to give. And, I always feel out of it when there's nothing that I have to give. I don't think that it's anything that people can do for you. And I wonder, like, what do you give to the family?
Well, I'm just beginning to feel like a little more self-conscious, like that I have something to give to the family,
Well, see, you won't speak up. You are too lazy to put yourself a little bit in harm's way. You really are, Mary. And you do a quick flip with it. When you feel uncomfortable around someone, you do what I have a tendency to do sometimes. You flip it and it becomes their problem.
Like Linda did a good thing for you because you're just like me. And people have to do it to me all the time, like Alabama. She put it right back on you. You see, you're so concerned with your feelings and where you're at every second of the day that you don't have time to consider what anybody else wants or needs. And that's where you're at, Mary. I don't think, I just think that you better start taking some responsibility for the way you act.
well, I'm just going to have to start, I don't know. I'm just going to have to start acting as if and talking in the meetings, because I'm beginning to feel like I have something to give back to the family. And I don't want to go back to New York. I mean, like, that's just bull that I run myself when I get f***ed up. Go home to Mommy. Because I know, I could never make it on the streets. I know it.
Just about every new rehabilitation notion, all of the rubbing up against each other, sensitivity, nonsense, all came out of Synanon. Synanon started it all.
The Synanon bus makes a regular run between San Francisco and L.A., and residents move freely between facilities. Rarely do they leave the Synanon nest, however, and critics of the community say the craving for drugs may disappear, but residents become addicted to Synanon. Members of Synanon are not troubled by criticism of this kind, however. In Santa Monica, their Oceanside residents accommodate several hundred people in a complex, sophisticated organization, many responsibilities, and members believe many advantages.
I think the hippie commune is a fantastic notion. As the founder of the first one, I think it's great, except that being trained as an American businessman with corporation experience, I set it up like I would set up any other group, with provisions so that people could eat and have medical care and good shelter and fun and work to do and so on. I think a hippie commune is great stuff, except that I don't want to live in a commune where everybody's got the clap and there isn't enough to eat, the medical care is no good, and people's teeth ache, and nobody smells very good. I won't live that way. I think you can have the best of both worlds. And I think we prove that in Synanon.
Synanon is supported by contributions from sympathetic organizations and foundations, from individuals, and from companies who donate products and services. Synanon has a team of hustlers, members whose job it is to hustle donations of food, clothing, building supplies, equipment of all kinds, anything needed to make the Synanon enterprise go. Synanon has its own service station, a fleet of buses and cars, a rubber plant which manufactures custom products for space-age industries, a printing plant, apartment houses, an advertising specialist firm with a force of traveling salesmen. And perhaps the accomplishment of which they are most proud is Synanon School. Children are separated from their parents at Synanon, an arrangement which members believe makes for stronger family ties.
Well, I believe this school is particularly different from other kind of schools because it's in Synanon, and we have our own basic values that these kids from the very beginning learn to live by, like no violence. There are no threats of violence, and in no way do we ever allow any adult to threaten them with violence, and they learn very quickly to trust the adults.
we don't have a curriculum as such. They learn all the tools and learn to use the tools like reading, writing, and arithmetic in a way which I think makes their lives far more exciting in their world. My feeling is that the curriculum we have here is constructed to help them live. I think we're also significantly different because they live in community constantly, 24 hours a day. Well, the relationship to their parents, by and large, I think deepens and becomes, if you will, one which is enriched because there is less demands on one mother and one father to sustain the emotional life of a child. My kids choose to see me when they want to see me. They invite me to dinner. They invite me to come into the place where they sleep. They have a real sense that I'm special to them, and our relationship is in some ways far more exciting than it was before we moved into Synanon. But as you can see here, I have lots of other children, and I represent something very important to them, and they to me.
I think that anything less than doing something that will change the world, will have an effect on it, is not much of a challenge for a human being. I mean, I believe that. I think that a person likes to make a mark, wants to think that he has done something, made a change.